keep stream skip. We're online.
Woo!
So, and we are recording. All right. So, without fail, yet again, more technical bullshit. So,
as always.
Yeah. All right. So, welcome back to the Halloween horror marathon. That is what we're doing. We had my picks. With me today is Samantha.
Hello.
Julianna. And a special guest, Jonathan.
Hello.
So we're going to go ahead and give you our opinion on two films. If you listened to the last episode, we talked about it being my picks, and then I was going to pick two of the most brutal films that I could possibly think of, which is Martyrs and Last House on the Left, both the original, the 2008 for Martyrs and the 1972 Last House on the Left, which the common thread of the theme is the humans are the monster. So
Today,
yeah, that's a good point. Today is October 19th, 2024. Thanks for the reminder on that every time.
I just don't want to say the date wrong again.
Oh, yeah.
No, she's going to introduce it, but she won't say the date anymore. Lest it be 2004.
Someone give me the date. Give me the date.
I said that before and nobody caught it.
It's 2004.
We all just really wanted it to be 2004 again.
I would love it to be 2004. This would be my freshman year of college.
That's a
I'm
fun
good.
time.
Yeah.
I was 4.
Yeah. You're going to get a lot of like ageist jokes from her, just FYI.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to bring it
Nick, was that your freshman? No.
No,
Okay.
no, it was not.
Jesus.
She was already graduated from college and started her thesis for
How old are you again?
Nobody will ever know.
Bum, bum, bum. The true horror story.
So,
No.
when you went to the theater to see 1972's Last House on the Left, what did you? No, no, I'm kidding. So the first one we're gonna go for is Martyrs. We're gonna be we're gonna have to crack some jokes here.
Actually, 2004, I was 21, so.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm older than this guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to crack some jokes to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a dark movie.
It is. It is. I would say it's on par with the Serbian film, if I had to take, because it kind of has the same torturous theme of just inhumane treatment. But we'll get to the plot in just a second. Let's go over a couple of things. One, if you've never ever heard us before and you just came across us, well,
Shame.
thanks for coming in. You just come across one of the fun episodes akin to Cool Cat Saves the Kids. So
Why? Every time you have to bring that up.
I don't know which is worse.
right? I think
Cool Cat.
actually I think it is Cool Cat. Yeah.
Cool Cat.
Cool Cat's probably the worst there. So
Have you ever seen Cool Cat, Jonathan?
Is that the cool cat right there?
Yes, it was.
Sure is.
For the listeners at home, there's 3 paper cats taped to the wall, and no, I don't know anything about them, but I'm dying to know.
so
On Tubi.
yeah, it's on Tubi. We did a review on it, and it was I thought it was just misgenred because it looked like it was a parody of something, and it was actually a kids' family film to help kids stop bullying and some other things.
And gun
but it
safety.
had
Vivica A. Fox.
Vivica A. Fox is in
All
it.
right.
Eric Estrada's in it, and we are
really? Chips.
not sure why they agreed to do this.
We know why. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. The joke is like there's blackmail involved.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Does Eric Estrada do the voice of Cool Cat?
No,
I
no. It's
wish.
actually another B action star. Well, actually, no.
it
I
was
think of
Eric.
Mommy Cat. Mommy Cat's voiced by a B action star. I forgot her name. And then the Cool Cat is actually voiced by this other guy who was cut out and redubbed by Derek Savage. And I guess they had a falling out. But there's a lot of things that are just horrible. It's a hard watch.
Definitely watch it and then listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then check us out on TikTok because we have the promo of where we use those masks. And that's where my GoPro apparently decided to eat shit. And then I finally got it back. So
Wow.
thanks for the insurance. It costs 1/4 of the GoPro, so I guess in a
Thanks,
way.
insurance.
Yeah. Got lucky there. So I guess
Cool Cat is just cursed.
it is.
I think that's the thing.
It's a cursed film.
This is why my neck started hurting again as soon as we got in here. It's Cool Cat.
So
All right, let's get back to the movie.
I haven't even gotten to the year. It's like, so this is This is a French foreign film, if you're not in France.
Oui, oui.
It's 2008. It was made. I actually saw this on, we had like a big projection screen, and we saw this thing back in 2013. It was introduced to me by this Spaniard named Cedric. He's an awesome guy. And he's like, hey, there's a great film we should watch. Let's play it. So we used to exchange films, just kind of like how we do on this podcast. And afterwards, when I saw it, I was just like, all right, I need a drink and a smoke. This is insane. So it came out in 2008. The genre is horror. It was written and directed by Pascal Laguerre. And the actors are, this is where the names come in. Morana Aloui, who plays Anna, and Mylene Jean-Penoir.
Jean-Penoir?
I don't know. You took more lessons than I did.
That sounds about right.
All right. So Lucy plays Lucy.
Sure.
And there's some other actors in there, but really they're the main focus. You can find this film streaming on Tubi. You can also purchase it digitally on Fandango.
I don't know if I'd want to watch this on Tubi.
Yeah, I know. With all the breaks, it'd be kind of weird. Did you clean with Tide Pods?
Acorn.
Acorn, yeah. Let me tell you about saving from the Rock. Because he uses Acorn apparently. And then sometimes you'll find it on Shudder. It wasn't streaming when we went to do it, but Shudder apparently has the unrated version. We watched the rated R version, which has some stupid cuts in it, but some other ones are just cut for so it doesn't get an NC-17 rating, which whatever. It's at this point.
I would be very interested to hear what in the world that they cut from this.
It's just lengths of certain scenes, from what I understand, and mostly that's usually what it is. And honestly, fuck the MPA. So
Sick. Yeah.
Just say what's in it and be done. That should be the rating system. What do you want? What do you want to see? What's not? Just put trigger warnings. This is what's in there. And then move on.
Should we do a trigger warning for this?
Oh, yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Yes.
So for the following films, if you have no idea what the summary is, first of all, we do spoil it. Second of all, we are going to go over screenplay, direction, acting, cinematography, editing, special effects, and the overall grade. Everybody's going to give their grade at the end. And then we're going to tell you whether or not we keep, stream, or skip it. Hey, it's kind of like the name of the podcast, right? So the other thing to let you guys know is that we do spoil it, like I said, and we do go over the summary. But when we do go over the summary, we are going to talk about all the things that are in it, which in this case is insane amounts of torture. And in the next film, you're going to have everything from torture and rape. So please be advised. Now, so let's go ahead and start this off with this summary. So the summary is that you open up to a young girl running in her underwear away from peril. She's obviously been through some things and looks to have been harmed in some way. And then it cuts to interview with another small girl where they're going and trying to ask her about Lucy, I think what it was.
Yeah, Lucy is the main.
Yeah. So they start asking about Lucy and what has happened to her, what has she talked about, and there's some scary scenes with this monster, which is actually going to be related back later on in the film as to what this monster really is and why she feels that. And well, I'll just throw it out there: it's survivor's guilt.
It is. That's what I wrote too. But I found it very interesting when they first showed kind of what Lucy had to go through in that room, and that chair reminded me of the Jeannie child abuse case from like forever ago, of that little girl who was like strapped to a toilet chair for basically her entire childhood until they were able to find her and like save her, and she was completely like feral at that point. And she's like a linguistics case as well because she had zero language skills, obviously, from being just strapped to a chair for her entire life, and beaten and kind of
So, and the thing is that I was thinking of that relates to this is like the whole concrete basement bunker thing. That reminded me a lot of Joseph Fritzl, who just was featured on last podcast on the left, where they went through the whole plot line of that. The interesting thing about him is that he decided to kidnap his own daughter, put her down there, and start raping the hell out of her. And then she was in there for 24 years, never saw the light of day, and didn't even put in proper oxygen. So her brain was completely like fried, and then ended up where her red hair turned gray. She had 7 pregnancies, 5 of which were viable, and the 2 that weren't, he just threw in an incinerator. It was,
oh my God.
Yeah, like real life crazy
That's
thing.
not interesting. That's horrifying.
That's
I mean, the one
fun fact.
good thing about this film was that right away they let us know that there was no semen in the girl.
Right.
And was that a little bit of a relief? Yes, it really was.
Right. Yeah. At least you didn't add rape to the multiple counts of torture.
So later on in the film, when he goes to beat her, I was like, oh shit.
I thought so too. I was like, ooh, I don't like the way he's standing and what he keeps. I was like, no, please, I don't want to watch. Yeah. I don't want to watch that.
I think that was like, with all the things you're going to have to go through as an audience, I think that was where maybe Pascal was like, this might be a bridge too far. I understand that we're going through extreme torture to get this result. But so let's go to where let's fast forward. You know that she was in an orphanage and she became friends. Anna and Lucy became friends, and then Anna wanted more, which is not even hinted at. It's obvious later on in the film.
Well,
but
she would do anything for her too.
Right.
Obviously, like she was in love with her, that's just really difficult. Like the portrayal of, first of all, being in love with somebody who is mentally kind of ill or like has gone through trauma, and any of that is really hard. But then, also having to find out that everything that she was talking about was in fact true to an extent, like everything that she went through. And then having to go through that herself, like, just horrible.
Yeah, the extreme PTSD that was plaguing Lucy. And then, so what ends up happening is you're catapulted to where Lucy seeks revenge and finds the family that actually, the parents she goes to their house where she finds them through a paper article. And the thing that's interesting about the way that was presented and edited was like, okay, kid running, orphanage, 15 years later, and all of a sudden it's like this family.
Yeah, we're just like a normal family
having a breakfast,
making breakfast. He closes the fridge. There's an article. Ooh, the daughter won some sort of swimming. Yeah, right thing, and you're like, oh, that's nice, little backstory.
They're just having a nice time, having their Cocoa Krispies, talking about college and shit. And life and what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, knock, knock, here comes something. Here's the other thing too. But before that happens, the mom discovers the reason why their water wasn't running well is because there was a white mouse or a rat or something around.
It looked like a mouse.
Yeah, I was like, it's very small, and she was like displaying it around like no big deal around the table, and I was like, that's your first hint they're not normal.
Yeah. Honestly, because I was like, ew, what the fuck? Who does that?
Never mind the fact that she had talked about digging up the plumbing in the backyard. And so mom's doing a DIY thing right now. So it must mean that she's not okay. But I guess later on it's revealed that this house, is not what it seems, that she probably had some help from outsiders to come in and dig up this water main. Oh, yeah. Which it leads to another big plot hole later.
Yeah, giant friggin' literal hole that's there. And
with this huge plumbing thing. And you don't think about it at the time, but then going back and thinking about it, you're like, oh, that was a hint.
Yeah. Right. So in like a massive industrial.
I think it was weird when the mom was pushing that mouse in front of their.
Yeah, that's a red flag, Sam.
She's like spinning it around
in the basement.
And the father's like, yo, get the mouse off the table. And that would not be the reaction of my family.
Yeah, it'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like that kind of thing.
Right.
Instead, she's just like whipping it around like that. And then she's just like,
oh, come on, honey.
Kiss it.
So get to the infamous shotgun scene, because that's the part that, I mean, if you look on YouTube for clips of this movie, that's the one that has so many millions of views, is the scene with the shotgun.
Which to me is like the most tame, because it's knock knock, who's there?
Bang!
Yeah.
Bang!
The end of your existence.
Honestly, though, what a shock to go from just like, oh, it's a normal family kind of dynamic. Bang. Like, they're bickering, they're having breakfast, whatever, to just bang out of the blue.
Yeah. Because you're thinking that might be like, oh, you're seeing the daughter, and then you're seeing the other girls, and you're like, wait a minute, what if she's going to be the next victim, and these family, and then these other two are going to come involved, and then they're going to save. No, that is not what's going to happen. You have Lucy show up and blow away the dad. You have no idea why. You have no clue as to what's going on. You just know she's had some trauma in the past. You know that.
Well, and at first you didn't even know it was Lucy.
Right.
Yeah. There's a little bit of like trying to stay away from just outright telling you. And then eventually you get to her just massacring the entire family in visceral detail using a double barrel shotgun and just going through like it's just business.
Oh my God, that conversation she had with the son being like, do you know?
And he
do you know what they're doing? And he paused and he didn't say anything. He fucking knew.
Yeah.
And which is so horrible.
And he wanted to be a pastry chef.
I know.
Right.
Ooh. Ooh, what is Mrs. Lovett's pastries?
Yeah.
I also love not love, but kind of love in that it's ridiculous. The old action movie trope of, when a victim is blown away by a shotgun after the slug hits the father, who easily weighs 200 pounds, right? He flies 20 feet in the air back against the cabin, right? So that happens. I'm like, okay, I'll let you. You probably had to rig up some wiring to do that, whatever, fine. But then later when it's the little girl that shot, she probably weighs, 60 pounds soaking wet, and she just falls right down on the ground. Can we be a little bit consistent here with the car?
Paper mache, Dad. So the funny thing is Running Scared, which is also a brutal film into itself.
I love Running Scared. It's a great one.
Best shotgun blast in the ice rink in the hockey. Yeah. Just eviscerates. Done.
That is a disturbing film too. That's got some,
good.
That's got some moments that stay with you.
Oh yeah. Vera Farmiga is amazing in it.
Yeah.
So another review. So eventually Anna is waiting for this phone call because she knows Lucy. You're not really told why she's waiting for the phone, like if it was a setup or that's a phone that she needs to wait by because that's what Lucy calls or whatever. But you just know that Anna's waiting for Lucy to call, and the call does come after she has laid waste to the entire family and has kind of like taken a breath for who knows how long. And then eventually Anna takes the call and says, hey, where are you at? What did you do? You're actually at their address. Yes. Okay. Where's the address? And she goes over, finds the massacred family, and proceeds to try to assist her in all sorts of ways. But there is the imaginary monster that's going after Lucy as well in her mind.
Right. And when I came to the end of the film, or at least when, it wasn't just that the two adults in that family that knew about the underground basement, because that basement was like, there was other players in there.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if the society or whatever put that particular woman there for them to entrap Lucy.
Well, it was already talked about that was not supposed to happen. Like they were doing cleanup crew because they didn't get a phone call back. So you could tell there's like a system that was in place.
Certain phone calls.
Yeah, and they're like
every so often.
Yeah, so I don't think that was an expectation of trapping them because that would be quite elaborate. But the basic thing is to fast forward it. Anna starts helping out Lucy. The mother is actually still alive, so she's thinking, if I kill this family, the imaginary monster will start to go away. I appeased it, yeah, and I had committed revenge for it because the monster is actually, you find out, another tortured woman that she saw as a child while escaping, and this is now the survivor's guilt, the PTSD. And she's actually, you find out, she's not being harmed by the monster. She's actually harming herself.
Right.
So it's showing the suicidal tendencies of survivor's guilt, which if you look at school mass shootings or even veterans who come back and have been through some brutal things, there are a tick up of suicides from that instance. Right. So it falls right into a harsh reality that is being described in this movie back in 2008.
Right.
So eventually,
the visible monster that goes with the mental strain and that is survivors.
Yeah.
Right.
And in this case, being pictured as an imaginary monster that's going after her.
Right.
Eventually, Lucy does succumb to the monster, and Anna is then left alone after trying to assist. Lucy does kill the mother, but it doesn't do enough to quell the beast. And it ends up to where Anna runs into, because she doesn't call the cops for whatever reason. The only thing I can think of is she's afraid of the implication of having murdered all these people.
Right.
And this society, this cult, this whatever, shows up in all black and take her and then put her in the basement. Oh, I did skip that part. She did find the basement, found this other tortured woman.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah. And they just like shoot her too.
Yeah. Well,
after she took off like
the contraption,
the saw contraption. That's what I'm gonna call that thing. Because like it's like that from the first movie, the little freaking whatever that was strapped to her head. Except this was nailed into her skull.
Yeah. It's like industrial staples or something.
Also, the arrival of this group of people, this cult. We did note that, you know, first of all, nobody in the group was under the age of maybe 65, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it reminded me a lot of the film Hereditary, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the cult members kind of descend to come to witness what's happened. And in a way, also, Jordan Peele's movie Get Out.
Get Out. That's what I was thinking of.
It's they're trying to get some information out of somebody, but and Get Out, the plot's a little bit different, but it's a bunch of white people doing white people.
Yeah, a bunch of old fucking white people doing white people shit.
Martha Stewart shows up. It's a good thing.
but the look on their faces is a combination of like intrigue and also concern. And when they learn finally that they have some information that they can use, like relief and excitement, that's really sick.
Yeah.
It's like they want to have a peek at what's to come in the next 5 or 10 years, however much time is left in their life.
Yeah.
They want to know what's the next stage, and that's disturbing.
Yeah, yeah. And what's interesting is as you get in there, you realize that the cellar you would think is like this dirty basement place, that was similar to her childhood, but then it's remarked by the leader that, we did things primitively back then, and that you should have never been able, or she shouldn't have never been able to escape. And there's an interesting quote that I really liked from the leader, who said that Mademoiselle. So, excuse me. So she basically said, that is how the world is, filled with nothing but victims. And I was like, if you think about it, yeah, it kind of goes along the lines of Buddhism, where it's like the world is suffering. It's like, yeah, you have these bouts of happiness, but it's like everybody's going to die. Everybody's going to go through all this crazy bad things.
Such a nihilistic view of existence, you know? It's just that there's no point in seeking happiness, that we're just kind of here to suffer and be victims until we die, and that's
until whatever's after nirvana.
So that's the crazy thing. Them seeking what's after was their happiness. So it's like a weird nihilistic approach to, like, it's nihilistic but also optimistic, because they're for sure there's an afterlife for whatever reason, because they're just killing. What you find out through these highlights is that they're trying to martyr all these women. It looks like they're very specific with women, even though they show pictures of men.
Well, because they said that
They
women,
said that it was more often women,
right? Because they were able to take it better than the men.
Yeah,
the pain threshold and so forth. And so, wow.
I got him in a tuffle.
Well, I was like,
the moment they had me sit down on that metal chair, I would have been out.
So we're just going to interview you. I feel like there should be a German accent, not a French accent with this thing. Like, it feels very German.
Well,
we are going to interview you about your Martyrs. I mean, what happened here?
I'm not trying to blame anybody in the situation, but if Anna had believed Lucy in the beginning, so this is all about believing your friends
and victim blaming,
or your partners, the people you love.
Yeah.
Although it is really difficult. I mean, she got to see her since like childhood. Deal with this monster, right? And I wonder if she had seen her, because I mean, you have that clip in the very beginning where she's in the bathtub and she's like, "You can't do this to yourself." She's like, "I'm not doing it to myself."
It was somebody else.
Right. I think she knew the entire time that she is doing it to herself, so it was harder to believe, because she couldn't believe, the monster, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you don't know what the background is, and you met her in an orphanage, and you just know she had PTSD, and then she was harmed, but you don't think like it's this elaborate scheme. And what you find out, it is the elaborate scheme, and then ends up Anna goes through the martyrdom, and it begins with just isolation, and then force feeding her this whatever green stuff
Whatever
is.
the heck that was.
And then it goes into beating her and beating her and beating her until she starts to hallucinate that she's talking to Lucy, and then trying to let go until you get to a point where she's flayed alive, and then somehow kept in an environment where she doesn't die from shock long enough to, and this is what amazes them. They're like, wow, she's still alive. I can't believe that. And eventually get Mademoiselle to show up and be like, all right, now tell me what you're seeing, because you get in the excellent DP shots on her face, and then going in and seeing the white light and all this other stuff that's supposed to be the afterlife. Now science is told is like, yeah, that's a thing that happens with the brain when you start to die. It just does that. If you don't blow your brains out, of course. So what's interesting is like she's going through these motions, and then she says something to Mademoiselle. You don't know what it is.
Right.
And then eventually she goes up to the bathroom and just says, keep guessing.
Right.
Pow! And then blows
She's like,
her head off.
I fucking know, and I'm about to experience it. Fuck you guys. Bang.
Yeah, and just kills herself.
Keep doubting.
Yeah.
Keep doubting. That's it.
Doubting.
Which I hope we return to that, because there's so much implied.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge moment. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Keep like, just, yeah, keep doubting. The first thing because when I first watched it, I took, and this is pretty much the summary now, but when I first watched it, I took it as like a very atheistic approach. Like, look at how you wasted your life and killed all these people and tortured them for nothing. And then the Mademoiselle's just like, oh shit. And just was like, bang.
Well, is it that, or is it looks so amazing that she could not wait to get to it?
The flip side is what if she was cognizant? Because it said, yeah, she was out of it, and then she started talking. Like, what if she just told her bullshit? So she'd kill herself. Like, maybe something. Like, if you just do it, you'll get there. Like, so there's a lot of like interpretation. I haven't looked up the actual interpretation.
Because it's kind of nice to have that more like subjective viewpoint on the ending and kind of what you glean from that final statement, rather than maybe what was originally intended. Because I think that's the nice thing about this film, is that the ending is like, it's up for interpretation on what in the fuck she saw.
Yeah.
Was she actually seeing an afterlife for real, or was she dying and just going through like
the different stages of dying?
Like she could just be in going through psychosis at this point. Right.
That's the thing. And that's where I took the nihilistic approach, where I was like,
and it's not, none of it that she saw was real. She was just so fucked up.
Yeah. Which is why exactly I took the nihilistic approach of like, hey, they just wasted their entire time doing this. This is for nothing.
Right.
But a couple of fun facts before we start rating screenplay. Anna broke 3 bones in her foot when she fell almost 10 feet off a soundstage, and they had to halt production. She had to be in bed for like 6 weeks.
Holy shit.
And when they Pascal wrote the script, he was in a state of clinical depression, like diagnosed and everything.
Well, I could see
that. Bordering on suicidal thoughts. He said this is why he feels the film has a nihilistic and depressing subject matter. He added that he was inspired by seeing Eli Roth's Hostel, and he wanted to make a movie about pain, but has strongly denounced his film's inclusion in the new French extremity movement, wave of French movies from 1990s and 2000s with explicit, violent, and sexual content. And he thinks it goes beyond that. And I would agree with him to that point, because it really wasn't trying to me, make it about the gore like you see with Terrifier. It was more about the journey and the torturous journey.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was more about the pain.
Yeah, because I feel like there are slasher films out there. Like, you look, again, I'm going to reference the Saw movies. Like, a lot of those are just, gory.
Exploitation.
Yeah. And, if that's your thing, that's your thing. We love it. But this one actually had some purpose, I feel, towards what they were doing, which made it, in a way, even harder to watch.
Yeah, as a viewer, you feel like you're on this journey too. Not clearly not on the same level, but you're on this cathartic journey. Mm-hmm. And by the time we get to the end of it, which, by the way, the ending is in no way satisfactory.
Right.
So, which it could be a commentary on like the moment of your exploration will also not be satisfactory. But I feel like as an audience member, I've also in a way been martyred.
At this point.
My eyes have been victimized.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like I love the in France and French filmmaking with noir endings is famous for that. It's like you're not gonna like the ending because this is life. You know, this is how it is. Not everything is happy.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to bring up too is that every French studio, every big one anyways, rejected it except for Canal Plus, which according to director Pascal was the only television channel in France that still finances some unusual projects. The director also noticed that the movie's premiere at Cannes led to several walkouts, and during a subsequent screenings at other festivals, one person fainted while another vomited. The other thing I wanted to say is that Blu-ray copies of Martyrs have been discontinued in Region 1. So it's becoming rarer and rarer to get a physical copy. So if you get one, get it, and you're probably going to have to get region free.
Right, because that means that the digital will probably go away soon, too.
Right, because they could pull those rights at any given time.
Really?
Even if you purchase it.
Damn, I didn't think it was that.
Did you really think it was bad enough for them to start?
Yeah,
banning?
I didn't think so.
I feel like I've seen word, like we were talking about the Serbian film, which I can't, and there was another movie that came to mind, Funny Games. Did you ever see Funny Games? Which I couldn't make it through. I could not make it through the first hour or so of that film.
It's just,
and it's still out there.
Well, here's the thing about that. It's not necessarily about how bad it is when it comes off of region selling. It's just not selling copies. So they just say, why are we making copies that are not getting off the shelf? So things like True Lies, believe it or not, you could not find for the longest time. You can get a Spanish variation of it until James Cameron decided to go ahead and start making some 4K copies, and all of a sudden they started popping up and they started showing up on streaming. But you could not find it digitally. You couldn't find it physical. And that was a blockbuster.
Just like the others.
Yeah, the others is very, very hard. You can get it in a Criterion collection, but it's going to cost you.
It's so crazy which movies like audiences determine to be worthy of purchase, and they get this following. And what comes to mind is like the Evil Dead franchise, which by all standards, the first Evil Dead is like should have never become as popular as it did. But
it's my favorite horror
I
film.
love it. Yeah. It's great. It's great. It's great because of how like silly it is, but still it made so much money that now you can find Evil Dead anywhere. It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah. Right. And just to bring up money, this was a financial flop. It was $3.67 million for a budget, but it only grossed 1.14. So it was a just absolute failure to sell.
Damn.
So that was unfortunate. You're not going to get Martyrs 2, not like you could.
Right.
Martyrs 2, Electric Boogaloo.
$3 million sounds like a bargain for this film.
Oh, as far as how much you think it would cost?
I thought it would cost way more.
Yeah. Well, this is what's interesting because the next film with Last House on the Left, it was just about 90,000, but they were trying to make it for 50.
Wow.
I freaking love that when you make a film and it gets popular and you're like, whoa. And we'll talk about what it made afterwards. But so for screenplay, for writing something in clinical depression, what did you all give it? Let's let Jonathan. Why don't we start with you?
Sure. Yeah. So. Let me give a little bit of my background. So I'll say I'm an English teacher by trade, kind of, and studied English. So I love questions that deal with screenplays and narratives and stories. And I felt like this story had some depth to it. There were many layers, and given that the director was going through some clinical depression, that makes it especially impressive that he was able to conceive of this idea. I think that childhood trauma is a very sensitive topic, and it's hard to tell stories about it in a way that preserves some dignity but also has substance.
Yeah.
And I think what he was going for here, like I said, was trying to pull the viewer along with the characters on this journey. I felt like there were times where if he really was going for shock value, he could have gone a little bit deeper. And maybe in the unrated cuts or the director's cuts, he does go there. But I felt as far as the depth of characters, the plot, I thought the setting was well done. Setting the story in this it's dichotomous, right? Because you're in the French countryside, but also you're in this modern house that's got a concrete bunker and everything. So you feel, even considering the setting, you feel like you're being split in two, because you're like, I'm by myself in the countryside where nobody can hear me scream, but I'm also in this very nice, modern, like comfortable living space that maintains its beauty even through all the carnage and everything. And I would be interested to see exactly what the screenplay says about that, about the setting. Anyway, should I give my rating?
Yeah, go ahead, fire it away.
I don't want to skew anybody else's.
No, we were supposed to already have it in there, so you're good to go.
Okay, cool. So not perfect. I felt like there were some plot holes in there, some things, but overall very strong. So I gave this screenplay an 8 out of 10.
I also gave it an 8 out of 10. I feel like in the beginning there was like a great story, but then like I know she was just being tortured and beaten, but I just feel like it kind of went off. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't really too much going on in the second half.
Right. No, and I gave it an 8 out of 10 for similar reasons. I feel like at a certain point, the storyline pivoted a little bit when we stopped following Lucy and started following Anna more. And I understand the reasoning for the time lapse of torture.
Right.
However, I was, and I think that's the point, just to make you uncomfortable, but
It really did feel like you were watching, 100 short clips of torture at some point at the end, like it was a montage. And the second half of the film...
A montage.
All of a sudden, like a song
She's
just
training
pops
for
into
Rocky
my
Balboa.
Well,
I
just keep hitting me.
The punching, like that specific.
I mean, it is a montage, but still, it's kind of funny. I never thought of it that way.
Oh yeah, he taps her on the shoulder, wake up, and then immediately knocks her out.
Slams her in the face. Oh my god!
If you can't take this, you can't take Drago.
That was maybe the worst part for me.
Torture
Not even the
gag
flag
reel.
line.
But what I did like though,
beating her.
she did still try to fight back.
Yeah,
Even,
at one time.
Like
One
even
part,
towards the
one
end, like
good
she
one.
tried to fight her.
Yeah, he just slightly annoyed him.
I'm with you on.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. By the second half, I felt like I was watching a different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sure
And
did.
that is definitely like the complete about face where you're like, okay, how's Hannah going to have to deal with all these dead bodies? Oh,
I
you know,
think,
it's like all
part of
everything.
that-
I was like, wow, what is
That's
she gonna
part
do?
of- That's part of that journey, As a viewer, I'm like, I'm embedded in the beginning. It's going to be this kind of movie, and then it's completely different at the end. I feel dissatisfied, and I like that because that's the way the director wants me to feel.
That part right there. Because the thing is that when I first watched it, I just felt helpless and hopeless, and seeing this all go down, and it's just that this is happening. This is now just happening. There's no way she's getting out of this.
Right, there's nobody there to help her.
Right. There is just, you're isolated. And it's the mademoiselle straight up said it like, world's full of victims.
Yep.
Boop. Like, it just boop her on the nose.
There's so much in that line too.
Yeah.
She gets third billing, right? But she doesn't show up until an hour into the film.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And she's got the best lines in the film.
I know.
Yeah.
She's got some good one
It's
lines.
like her and Pinhead show up and you're screwed. You're like,
Oh, it's the mademoiselle.
we have such sights
They
to show
start playing
you.
the Ratatouille.
Oh my God.
Where that,
Yeah, actually,
where
she
that
takes off her
across-
hat and there's a fucking
And there's
rat.
a fucking rat.
Just
Oh my
making
God.
Where
martyrs.
there's where
Remy's the ultimate martyr. He's like,
Did you see God?
I find it interesting what you humans see after death.
That's
But all
that's
you
where
hear
the
is
mouse
squeak,
comes
squeak,
from.
Yeah.
At the beginning. That's the mouse.
there you go.
That's the real world Remy that she pulled out.
You know what we should do is just recut the film, take out the Weinstein production logo and put in Disney.
All right. This was a Weinstein production. Nobody's surprised by that.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I don't know if the brother is anywhere near Harvey, but I mean, he's not charged with anything, so I'm going to assume that he's an okay guy, I guess, because it's the brothers that own it, but they dropped the whole Weinstein company
Should
thing.
consider changing his name, I think.
At this point.
I'd be just like, yeah, I'm something else entirely.
All right, Nick, what was your reading?
Believe it or not, I had the lowest rating of 7 out of 10. The reason why I dipped it wasn't so much the plot holes. I think you're just so propelled and pushed forward that it's easy to miss those plot holes. It was the fact that I felt like the entire time I'm just being pushed to the martyrdom. Like I'm kind of being, it's almost like I'm in a line at Halloween Horror Nights and it's like, oh, come on, keep going. I'm like, wait, I'm trying to catch this. Like the development of the PTSD is just so like, okay, it's there. And it's like, oh man, I kind of wanted a little bit.
It was just like literally the phone call to her mother before all that shit went down. And you could tell that it was some kind of an abusive relationship there, but you didn't know how abusive.
Right,
until later when she's getting abused and you realize, oh shit, was getting physically abused, and because she kind of shuts down because she knows how to do that.
And I remember the scene about the haircut. The haircut was one of the torture gag reels, right? So I get that is psychologically damaging to people, but is it on par with being flayed and being beaten?
No.
Right.
No.
Was that a necessary? Yeah.
So what's interesting about that is that brought me back to in World War II, where they thought the French women slept with the Nazis that were occupying. They ran around, grabbed them, and started cutting their hair off so everybody knew. So I wonder if that's kind of a nod to that kind of like
if
history.
You had short hair.
And there was like no trial. This was like a mob justice thing. They suspected you're getting your hair cut and everybody thought you slept with Nazis.
Well, and I know in certain cultures that women's hair is actually a lot more like of a personal connection. Like people have believe that a lot of things stem from your hair. And so like cutting a woman's hair is like a big no-no.
Oh, like there was a thing where Poles back in, we're talking way back in the day, would let their hair dread and they thought like, oh, if you cut that, you're getting rid of the diseases and everything, even though by not washing your hair and letting all that stuff happen and just letting mud go through it, it's like, no, that's
other than the old, like the 80-year-olds in the end, I didn't see any women with short hair.
That's true. Yeah, they all have long hair. Although French femininity, I don't know, it seems to be more expressive. Like they could still be a strong female, but they still have like, hey, I'm gonna be, because at Mademoiselle, everybody was like, just looking at her like, hey, how's it going? But she still had that, false lashes. She had the makeup on and everything, but nobody was gonna fuck with her. Like,
right? Yeah.
She snapped her fingers. They're like, he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much. Generally speaking, we're on the same with screenplay. Direction, what do you guys give? Who wants to take it over?
I also gave it an 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Felt like it was on par with the screenplay of what I was, expecting to see what I saw. And
I can't remember if it was Lucy or Anna, but they gave him a lot of praise, but said, I don't know if I could work with him ever again because it was so hard. It was so hard.
Really?
Yeah.
One of them?
Yeah, I think it was Anna, the one, Morana Aloui. So...
Well, she had some freaking hard things to do to act with. Like, I gave Direction 10 just because, like, I feel like they did what they needed to do when they needed to do it.
So 8 and 10. And
wasn't this his first film that he directed?
I don't know. I
thought I had seen that. I could be incorrect about that, but I don't remember. I give it a 7.
7?
Out of 10. Yeah, I felt this, getting back to screenplay, very strong, but also lots of layers to juggle. And at times I felt like some of the cuts that he decided to make were a little bit jarring. I kind of had trouble following it at times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's where I gave it an 8. It was very, very good. It's just, there's, we can't just give everything a 10 just because it's very good. It's like, hey, you're just, there's some flaws there, but it's still very, very good.
Maybe you can't.
I want to know what kind of conversations he was having with his actresses. Like what instruction, what direction was he giving to them?
Actually, that wasn't just a guy beating her up. It was like his personal assistant that he sent over, like making sure you're going to act this way, whether you like it or not.
And those face cuts were actually real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did fall off that stage, so who knows how it happened. Acting.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. I'm kidding, Pascal. Acting, I gave a 10 out of 10 because everybody was just sharply on point.
Yeah, I gave a 10 out of 10 just because there was so much that they, especially like Anna.
Yeah.
Like, and I believed she was actually being tortured.
Right. Or with Lucy in the beginning, she truly, I felt she saw that fucking spooky ass bitch and all of that going down. I was just in awe.
And speaking of that, how like when she saw the spooky ass bitch for the first time and she was like in her bed and like she puts the covers over her head. I'm like, I just want to go back to that time where I thought the covers would protect me from everything.
Yeah. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Big.
Oh, apparently, an entire mattress didn't protect that one girl.
Well, no, she shot through the mattress and the girl didn't get shot, right?
Oh, I thought she missed, and that's why.
I thought she got shot a little bit.
No, yeah, because she kind of gave that agonizing scream,
like,
but they didn't show it. But then I thought she just missed.
A little bit of blood.
Oh, it was?
I swear. Oh, okay. And then she got up and
I guess
ran
you'll
away.
have to watch
she
again.
got shot in the hand or something.
Hold on, let's get a mattress. We'll test it. No, let's get. Let's put a watermelon on the other side. Mythbusters.
9 out of 10 for me.
9 out of 10.
The two leads are fantastic. I mean, you don't. They were acting in a way where not much needed to be said, and you knew exactly what they were experiencing. The family at the beginning just bothered me.
Oh, really?
The family at the beginning bothered me. Yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
I liked them.
So you enjoyed the shooting?
Like that.
No,
that's what you get for acting bad.
You can't put that out in the ether that I like the shooting.
Hey, we're okay. So sorry. You were saying, Jonathan, about loving the shooting.
Stop it.
That's not what you were saying.
The audio cut out.
Yeah, we had a bit of an audio dropout, and he was saying that don't associate him liking the shooting because he had problems with the acting with the family.
Right, yeah. The family just did do it for me.
But would be funnier if you did.
Did they have to kill the kids? I'm just saying. Did they have to kill the kids?
Look, they didn't meet the score for Florida.
Well, I don't think she really intended to do that, but then as soon as the boy hesitated when she was like, did you know what your parents did? And he hesitated and you knew he knew, that's when she was like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
But did the girl know? The little...
Probably not. She was just like, I'm in penny for a pound, so...
She's like, I can't just keep one of them alive.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not adopting this woman. Just done. All right, so you gave it was a
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10
Yes.
for acting. Cinematography, Samantha, what'd you give?
I gave an 8 out of 10. I thought the shots were really good, but at sometimes they were just kind of awkwardly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. I gave it a 10 out of 10, especially for that last shot. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that
I was
face.
not expecting to get what's the movie you made us
The
watch?
Fountain?
Yes.
Death is a road to awe.
Yes, I wasn't expecting to get awed.
Are those
All of a sudden, Hugh Jackman shows up in a bubble.
I was waiting for it. I was like, where's Hugh?
Are those in the same universe?
Where's
Yeah, right?
Hugh? As long as he was there and took his shirt off, I'm fine.
You're going to be like in Baby
10
Cat
out
where
of
you just
10.
get your finger closer and closer to his peck and just go,
The shot they're describing is the slow zoom in on her what do you call it?
Eye. Yeah.
Pupil. And the dark area becomes the tunnel of light, and then it zooms back out. It's very beautiful. I thought the cinematography was great. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought that he did rely heavily on the very close-up shots, which I thought was appropriate for this movie. These are very intimate shots and quite a few shots where the camera was you were viewing over a shoulder. So the camera's positioned directly behind one of the subjects who was out of focus, and then the subject that was speaking was in focus. And I know that is done by cinematographers to create that intimacy. There was not a single wide angle shot that I noticed in this film, not one.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Which was, for the
maybe the
subject matter,
cars, even the cars when they showed up, it weren't wide.
Maybe.
Yeah, but if it was a small, wide shot. Yeah.
Maybe appropriate for this, for this type of film. I did feel the rainstorm, the way that the rain was shot was a little bit cliche, a little cheesy. That the rainstorm was going on at the most dramatic moments, and the way that that's captured. Had it not been raining, I probably would have given it 10 out of 10, but 8 out of 10. Not bad.
Cinematographer, because you're a director, you got.
It's hard to shoot rain. It's hard to shoot rain authentically. And I can think of several movies that do a good job of shooting rain. One that comes to mind immediately is Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah.
And that film, the scenes where it's raining, I thought that was done very, very well. But this one just felt like it was too much, too heavy, trying to capture too much, and the camera's capturing it from a place where it's dry, and it just didn't feel authentic to me.
Mm-hmm.
So funny enough, not because of the rain, but because of outside, and I was like, that's a really bright moon. Like we could have done this a little bit different by either
lighting.
colorizing it or softening the way the glow was, because it was like she was at like there's a street lamp right there in the yard, even though there's no street lamp. So that was the one where I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I really wanted to give it a 10 out of 10 for that face shot into the eye and then back out and it being so visceral. I think the using the close shots and over the shoulder shots to really make the audience feel like they're there was a great idea. But like I said, that one
If
little
you wanted to be there, which
Yeah.
you didn't.
Yeah.
So pro moment, I thought the immediately following the massacre, the shotgun massacre, while the massacre is taking place, the footage is very shaky. It's very close, almost like the camera person is following the victims, and you feel the chaos, right?
Yeah.
And then when she leaves, and the other, it's I get the characters mixed up. Which one's the
Anna's the one in the end that dies.
Yeah. And so Anna comes in because she says, I have to see, right?
Yeah.
She comes into the same scene and the camera is still and it's focused and it's a little bit further back, right? And it's brighter and you get a completely different feel from the scene.
Yeah.
Same scene, same place, same setting, but two totally different views of the same environment.
Good catch.
Wonderfully
good catch.
done. Wonderfully done.
Landed right on the green with that shot. Very good.
Although shoot,
About
like,
10 feet. Yeah, 10 feet from the pin there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that she wanted to go inside to see what happened, but I think after the first body, I would have ran back out and been like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
pennies.
But she proceeded to go into the house and out of the house and into the house again.
Yeah, let's not forget that she was under the impression that she was just going to look, just verify that it's them.
Next
Imagine.
thing, she's dragging bodies to the hole.
It's like I'm just going to swing by my ex-girlfriend's house and see if she's home. It goes from that to
That's
murder
the problem
murder 1 times 4.
when you put it on a pedestal. You do too many things.
But then again, what kind of friend is that, knowing that that's a trigger? I would have been with her, at least.
Right. But again, she wasn't supposed to ever go inside.
Right. Or let alone the person, like, place. They were supposed to, like, trust and verify. Like, I
Right.
found out it's them, this newspaper article. And she never even gave the newspaper article to Anna. And Lucy was
Right.
just like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to do it.
And
So-
listen, like, obviously she was in love with Lucy because I don't think, like,
Right.
a friend would go through all that. I think at a certain point, a friend would be like,
Yeah.
no.
Depends on which
It's just-
friend. Now, apparently I know where you're...
Yeah, well, if you massacre a whole family with a shotgun, I don't
better be
know
good.
how.
Better be real good.
You better have a good ass reason.
Oh. I thought,
Other than that, I don't know, man.
Fair.
you just have this other friend's like, was she that good? And he's like, oh, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
4 bodies in a mass grave. Good.
Ooh.
Willing to get flayed alive and stare at the light? No, not good. Not that good.
No.
It's a weird, interesting commercial for Chili's. So where did this come from? I don't know. I just felt like baby back ribs after massacring this family.
Baby back, baby back, baby back.
So the
Her
guy.
ribs were very visible after the flame.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So here's the thing. This is completely okay. So there's a guy that's been going around putting up anti-abortion posters everywhere around Pensacola. Have you seen him?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing I said is, like, one of the things you can do as a protest is, some people are like, oh, throw something at him or yell at him or whatever. I'm like, no, you go across the other side of the street
wasn't
and
me.
do subversive stuff like play Chili's theme song Baby Back Ribs at full volume and then just dance around like this is amazing, holding a Chili's logo, because what the guy does is show what is presumably these abortions that occurred
Did you not see
on these
that
big
on the-
posters.
No.
Because it was on a corner going home.
Oh, he'll show up outside of school.
Oh.
Yeah, incredibly
Oh,
graphic
wait a
images.
second. No, because it was actually when you leave the Home Depot, you don't go that way.
I don't go that way.
I just had to go to the Home Depot. That's
Oh,
why.
are they
It's-
like disgusting images?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like babies cut in half
Yeah,
and
and
mashed and
it's-
like they're
fuck?
yeah.
And then
yeah.
it's like babies that are clearly not even in the womb anymore, and they're like mashed up.
Yeah.
You know?
It's for shock value.
It's
right.
it's totally shock value. There's a lot of misinformation that he's throwing out there, and what I just thought, like, what better way to screw this guy's day up? Just sit there and be like, I want my baby, bad baby, like just on loop. While you see.
No, but this is the same guy that would show up outside of schools and with a megaphone and taunt high schoolers about, say your parents are going to hell and they're raising you to go to hell too, and have his signs with the babies on it, and it's just terrible. It's just
Be like, bye, see you there.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Anywhere you're not, buddy. It's fine with me.
So Chili's, if you want to sponsor Keep Stream Skip, we got the perfect product placement for you. They're like, no, you can't put our onion next to that. Our awesome blossoms don't go there.
That's Outback Steakhouse.
Well, they had an awesome blossom, and then they had the bloomin' onion, and they had the awesome blossom first before they had the and then they decided to drop it from their menu. So now the secondary Outback with their bloomin' onions, the only thing that's left.
Yeah.
Awesome sounds better.
Well, I knew
bloomin'.
Awesome Blossom existed because of The Office. That episode of The Office where they go to Chili's and they sing that song and they're like, I've been feeling an awesome blossom because I'm awesome. You know what I'm talking about? No?
I feel God in these Chili's tonight.
I feel God.
All right, editing.
So editing.
Great
We're going to go on and on about Chili's.
Yeah.
Our after date, like right afterwards, was that at Chili's?
Yeah.
We had drinks.
On our first date.
That was where my wife and I had our first date.
Oh, yeah?
God, are you telling me I
and
need
then
to go to
famous,
Chili's?
she's going to hear this. And but anyway, we went to Chili's and then I took her to see worst decision I ever made, the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the movie.
Oh.
Without being high?
This was 2007. Okay. For those of you not familiar with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, it is not a cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, no, but it's amazing.
I'm sure
Anyway,
not.
she said that had dinner not gone well, I was good at conversation. Otherwise, there would not have been a second date.
Man.
Yeah.
So, funny thing, we went Outback, we went to a horror trail, and then we went to Chili's back at the same mall area. And then there you go. All
That's
she
a
wrote.
good date. I like that.
Oh, yeah. She wouldn't let me go home. Let's go here now. I'm like,
Okay.
How to work
You
tomorrow?
leaving me on the horror trail by myself in the fog.
No, I did not. I was walking forward. She decided to get caught by one of them.
Is this why you have people in your basement, Sam?
What basement?
This is Florida.
Yeah, I
This is
know.
You guys
Florida.
have a basement.
It's in our attic, okay?
Yeah, your attic.
Flowers in the attic.
No.
Another
All right,
horrible.
back to editing.
Oh my god.
Editing. How can I bring up more horrific stories? All right, so editing, I gave a 10 out of 10. I thought it was wonderfully edited
Same.
because it kept the pace going, even though I wish it had the story where it wasn't pushing you along. Because I think if you made this into a 2-hour film, it would have been way too much. I think about a 1 hour and 40-minute runtime was about perfect. So
It was only an hour 40.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It does feel longer than that.
It feels
Yeah.
a
Maybe
lot longer.
because of all the
Yeah.
torture.
oh yeah.
because of all the torture.
They could have added more torture.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's so.
I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think I'm on the low end. I was almost 8 out of 10. I just was not feeling the torture gag reel at the end. I know I keep bringing that back up. I felt it was too clinical, too sterile the way they cut those scenes.
And that's the thing. They were trying to treat it like a science. Like that cult was like, oh, if we just do this, we could totally see the other side. It's like,
What other movie am I thinking about that was also very eerily sterile and whatever with their torture?
Cool Cat.
Yes. Yeah, they bleached my eyes.
Someone say torture?
Stop!
I mean, they needed to do
gonna flay
more
you alive.
to demonstrate the passage of time, because I don't know how much time elapsed between
Right.
when she was first tied to the chair in the dungeon and when she gets flayed. But I would assume,
Right.
weeks, maybe months.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they purposefully do that because she doesn't know, so you can't know, and they just have these fade in, fade outs, and you notice all of a sudden her head's shaved. You don't know when that happened. You saw the
Right,
haircut,
right.
but you don't know when she was shaved, and you see her face getting more and more messed up from the punishment of being hit. You can
Right.
probably guess that she was isolated in the first part for a long time, where it's like, here's food, bye. Here's food, bye, and then. Yeah. And then the only relief she had is just using the restroom, which is why she kind of was like half crying while doing it, because it felt something good was just to relieve herself.
Yeah.
Well, I gave it a 7 out of 10 as well. I thought some of the cut scenes too, like it just kind of either went by too fast or not fast enough. You know, like especially like in the beginning where it could have went, I think, a little more, but then in the very, very beginning, I feel like it was just kind of cut different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Choppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very choppy.
Juliana?
I said same.
She
10.
said
Same.
the same as
okay.
you.
10.
10? All right. And then let's go to special effects. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But what about when her head was magically restored?
Yes.
Oh, after being beaten?
Yeah.
So,
Haha.
Yeah, I feel like the rest of it just made up for that. Like that
Yeah.
tiny little whatever. I mean, the flaying, the torture, the fucking horrifying monster. She
Yeah.
looked horrible.
pulling the staples out.
The staples, the
Yeah.
gunshots, like everything just looked so good that I don't think I cared that her head was mysteriously kind of back.
I didn't even catch that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I saw. I did 7 out of 10. Also, I mentioned my shotgun issue. Right, bodies don't fly back like that when they get shot.
It's more fun. No, it's
with the monster, the physical manifestation of survivor's guilt. I feel like, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, they were going for was that person also flayed at some point? Is that the reason?
No,
that she
I think
looked
she
the
was
way,
just incredibly
because she had
malnutrition.
she had the veins and stuff showing the
Yeah.
way that Anna did after she was flayed. So
yeah.
I wasn't sure, but I thought maybe not. But I wasn't really. I did love the way that that monster
Yeah.
looked.
At
Yeah.
first I thought so, but then when I saw, you know, when we had the flashback of her as a child and she left that person in there and she wasn't flayed, she was just kind of cut up. I was like, oh, that's who she is manifesting. But I gave it an 8 out of 10. 1 for the head.
The head, yes, she really did.
You
go
know
to
who
town
did the
on
head
that.
thing really well? Midsummer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the head
Do you mean
thing
with the
real good.
mallet?
Yeah.
Then when they smash
I just like
sure.
the jump and
After
smash.
the jump,
That-
smash, mallet.
the sound. The
Yeah.
sound was
Yes.
also.
It's like the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire when they were describing what it sounded like when those women were jumping out. They're like, it was just like thud, dead. This was an actual thing that they said in the newspaper. They're like thud, dead, thud, dead. It was just, that's how it was. And then like, wow.
Yeah, so at one moment when she's hitting the mom with it's a hammer, right?
Yeah,
She's
yeah, it was like a
Like
small
a
sledge.
cleave.
and they do one close up. Again, cinematography that's great. For the most part, you don't see the actual hitting, but they do one close up of the mom's face when it makes contact. Yeah, it makes contact, and the sound. It's just a dull. No, you. And if it were a comedy, it would have been hollow, right?
Yeah.
But it's a dull, lifeless. Boom. Yeah. And you're like, that's probably what it would sound like, and that made my skin crawl.
Yeah.
So I thought that
yeah.
was very well done. But to that point, when they're dragging the body away, that's not what the head would have looked like.
Yeah.
It would have looked like it got ran over by a truck.
Actresses
Yeah.
is like saying, let me fix myself. And they're like, no, forget it.
She had to get her face out there one more time.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the overall.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10,
8 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Nice.
You guys can go. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. So in the overall, personally, I would keep it, but this is a stream. Now, I would keep it because I feel it's a part of the art form, and this is something to be seen as a piece of art. But for most people, I'd say check it out. You're probably not going to want to own it.
Yeah. I said stream it for that reason because I don't think I'm going to want to watch that again. But it was a good watch. I'm glad that I did see it, but I'm not going to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see this showing up as a cult classic, but you did mention that it could be hard to find in the coming years, given the way it's going. But not one that I would recommend owning. So I said stream it. If you're into that kind of thing, I think a lot of people that I know wouldn't be. But.
Can I guess what Sam said?
God.
Skip it.
Yes.
Yeah.
First you skip the fountain, then
knew
you
it.
skip
Don't
Martyrs.
watch it.
You know what she hates? She
Trauma. I don't like trauma.
It
Too
was
much
traumatic.
trauma.
Then why'd you marry me? No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
I
Also,
have a short-term memory.
you know what I totally forgot to mention? the music. That was like when she was still down in the basement, but it was kind of like happy walking through fall leaves music, and it's like, wait a minute,
What music?
you didn't hear that music?
There wasn't much music. I know there was some.
There was a little. It was very, very, very specific to when she
you hear
decides to
music?
let go, but she hasn't gotten to the flayed part yet, and it's all like, Do, 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 do.
Did you
And it's
hear
very
music?
Well, I think
I heard
she's
music building up at some point.
like we said. There
I don't
wasn't
remember
there
it being
wasn't a
cheerful.
satisfactory ending, but I think Anna had her victory, right?
Well,
Because Mademoiselle kills herself.
yeah.
Right.
So who knows what she said to her, but the end result was Mademoiselle has chosen not to continue the game.
Right.
And that's kind of a victory because she's a horrible person.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't like she was going out there like Haley's Bob or whatever it is. Haley's Comet is coming around. They're like, hey, everybody, it's great. This is what it is. I'm going to go kill myself. It was like,
By the
Keep
way,
doubting.
should say choosing to end your life in no way is a victory. I should clarify that. Sorry.
well, and that's the thing. It's like, maybe it's to end her suffering because there's no suffering on the other end. And that makes her the victor, which is even worse, but which could contribute to his nihilism of when he wrote it, where even the worst person in the world, practically in this setup, is winning. That could be the other take on it. I like to think of it as, in the end, she realized it was all for nothing and was just kind of like
No
getting
point
her.
in continuing to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, like she was methodically taking everything
But
off.
you know,
and
there's
just being
somebody
like, whatever.
who's going to step up and continue.
Yeah, they're like, she knew what it was and she didn't tell us.
What does she mean by keep doubting, though? What does it mean
that's
to
the
continue doubting?
Yeah, keep doubting it actually exists, or
Was it a taunt? Like, I dare you, keep doubting, keep doing that.
that's the
See
other thing.
what
Was it a
happens.
time? But why not address everybody? Because the whole point is everybody got together to know this information. So
Right.
if the information was incorrect of their presumption, was that the devastating news which caused the issues? Because I can't imagine being like, hooray, bang.
Well, if you think about it, like if it was like there was nothing on the other side, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, it was all for nothing. Maybe she didn't want to give them that satisfaction. Maybe she wanted them to just keep on.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah, maybe she's just a selfish bitch.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
Could be.
probably.
It's
That's
just,
probably the.
I like how
Yeah,
she's like,
probably.
Antian, yes, keep doubting, bang.
Bang.
It's like, he's like, man, that bathroom break is taking forever.
She chose to do it the way that Warden Norton does in Shawshank Redemption. It's almost like a shot for shot
Really?
duplicate. Yeah,
I have to see it again.
exactly the way that he ends his life at the end of that movie.
Oh, she Shawshanked herself.
Yep.
Bang.
Bang.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to be checking out Wes Craven's first film, The Last House on the Left, been made in 1972. Known for its unflinching realism and his first horror film before he became more famous for things like Nightmare on Elm Street. So when we come back, we'll be talking about that. And as always, stay tuned. And we're back. Okay.
Woo.
Yay.
It actually is back up and operational. Just so many technical difficulties. Oh, well. We're back. We got The Last House on the Left from 1972, which was written and directed by Wes Craven. How about that?
East Craven.
East Craven? Yeah. And also co-written by Ulla, it's Ulla, Isaacson.
Listen, we've already mispronounced one name this time around. You can't be mispronouncing all of them.
I know. The actors are Sandra Peabody and Lucy Grantham, David Hess, and others. There's a lot going on. You got the Krug gang. You got the parents. You got the girls. But we're gonna do
deputies.
Oh yeah, the deputies.
The
And-
lady with the chickens.
Yeah. You're not getting on my truck. That's too much weight. And it's like, what does your truck get horsepower from? A lawnmower? Like,
There were a lot of fucking chickens on that truck.
a lot of chickens, man. So, quick rundown with the summary. Girls go out to go to a concert, want to pick up weed first. There is foreshadowing with the radio saying that the Krug gang is out and dangerous, so be careful. Of course, them
Dun,
being
dun, dun.
naive, they're up in New York City and they end up coming across said Krug gang when they're purchasing weed, which leads to massive rape and violence and death. And then eventually gets the Krugs in trouble when they finally meet the parents, which is kind of another movie in itself. Meet the parents. Yeah, if you're going to mistitle a film, Meet the Parents would be perfect for this.
Meet the parents of your victim.
Guess who's coming for dinner? So what ends up happening is you get a basically a revenge film where the parents do their best, and where all the home aloneing of the house didn't. I mean, it kind of came across.
Yeah, it did.
It did. It was yeah.
It was a lot of effort for a very little payoff.
Yeah.
I mean, but the dad wanted the payoff, regardless.
But what
tried?
But
such a try hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if he would have started with the chainsaw first.
I mean, listen, Home Alone, he was a child and he did it way better.
Yeah. Where you can find this film is streaming on Prime right now. It seems to pop up ever so often on different streaming services. It is a classic. After this came out, several duplicates came out and tried to do what it did by just changing things like last house on this street or whatever. So it was actually a popular film. It was budgeted for $90,000 roughly. They actually were trying to do it for $50,000. This is Wes Craven's first film. He actually was an English professor at the time who dabbled in film work in pornography first. The original movie was actually supposed to be a hardcore film that included actual sex, and the actors understood that, but then they decided not to go that route. It took several edits going back and forth trying to get a rating for this thing until and they kept on slapping with an X no matter what he did. So we put all the film back on it. And what ended up happening with that is he had a friend who then just gave him the R rating. And I'm going to go through all these.
Good to have friends in high places.
Pretty much. That's it. He had the connection. So speaking of connections, the reason why the music was so damn goofy is because it was the, brother of Harry Chapman who wrote this thing, and he was a student of Wes Craven's. Now, Harry Chapman, if you don't know, made Cats in the Cradle. You know that one song? Cats in the Cradle.
Hey,
Yep.
There's our cat reference once again.
Stephen Chapman is the brother of that person, and they thought maybe it's genetic. Well, no.
No.
Yeah, it was... It definitely took you out of the film a lot, where it's like, here comes the Krug family. What's gonna happen next? Also more rape. Yeah, that's what they kind of did, though.
Yeah, no, they certainly did, and it was very distasteful.
Oh yeah, especially when he's like stabbing the one girl, and it's just like he's stabbing a synthesizer.
Yeah, oh my god.
So it was this film is infamous. Matter of fact, it's only just been well, I should say only just, but it was banned in England for a long time on the what Joe Bob Briggs would call the video nasties list, where it's like a film so notorious that it's banned in different countries. England just back in 2008 actually allowed it to be sold and shown. Of course, now with the internet and everything else, you can pretty much purchase anything as long as it's region free. So the other thing is too is let's see here. I lost my place in my fun facts.
The fun facts.
Oh well, of course, where all the actors are concerned, it was very hard for them to shoot such scenes. Some of them wanted to quit. Some don't even talk about being in it, except for one said, "Yeah, I never want to do something like that again." But they talk warmly about being on the film. So it's for example, according to various cast and crew members, especially David Hess and Fred Lincoln, actress Sandra Peabody was genuinely terrified throughout most of the shoot. At one time, walking off the set. Eventually, filmmakers caught up with her, as we saw in the film, and convinced her to return.
Oh my god.
Return and finish the film. Dark jokes.
Was Sandra the one that died first, or the main girl?
The Mary.
Mary.
Mary
With an I. Which was her birthday.
Yeah,
So,
it was her birthday.
Yeah. Well, what?
Yeah, it was her birthday. Remember, they're hanging up the decorations.
Well, yeah.
And making the cake and...
Well, for some reason, I thought that was like fun fact. It was also.
Oh no! Yeah.
And I was like, that's horrible.
Naturally, the critics and so forth really did not like the film, except for, funny enough, Roger Ebert, who gave it 3.5 stars and got a lot of hate mail for that, and saying, how could you possibly give this film anything? What Wes Craven was trying to do with the film, of course, he was coming from doing documentaries on the side as well, and being involved with that, which is where you get this visceral, weird, realistic shot. It's not really artistic whatsoever. It's just there they are.
Right.
And there's some bad editing in there too, along with some other things. But what he was trying to do is not glorify violence at all. Of course, when you're talking about 1972 and the history that's going on there in America with all the violent things that are going on, this is all filmed in New York and the surrounding areas. And the other thing is that I don't think it was filmed with any permits at all. It was all just, we're shooting and we're not going to get caught. So if you notice, there's very few city snes. It's very much like, come on, get downstairs.
They're like, get down the stairs and get the hell out of here.
Well, when he popped that boy's balloon.
Oh, yeah, it probably was a real kid for all we know.
Actually, wasn't it Wes Craven's son?
Was it?
I think so.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, you have your own little fun fact. Love it.
That was the only one. Maybe.
I'm expecting more.
So you mean they carried a body down the fire escape without a permit? This is just an everyday, a Tuesday in Manhattan.
And they were just putting bodies in the trunk.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing they probably did it in the Bronx or Brooklyn or something like that, because if you look at it, it's not like nice. Not that 1972 New York was nice, but it was even in the less nicer part of the already not nice New York City.
Yeah, when the Cruz, I can't remember, Junior was like being the lookout man while they were bringing down the bodies. I think he was maybe just looking for like actual police.
Actual police. He's like,
Cop just shows up. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Birthday party? All right, move along.
Do any of you watch The Bear, the TV show The Bear?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I know it's.
There's a character on the bear, Carmi, the main, and he looks just like Junior.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought
that's a good point.
What's the actor's name for that?
He's also in Shameless. I can't remember his name.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I know him from. He looks so familiar.
So, are you looking for the bear actor or the one who actually is in the last house?
Well, if you look up the bear actor.
Oh, you want that name first? Okay.
Well, I was just curious as what his actor name is, because I thought the guy that plays Junior looked so familiar, and it wasn't until you just said that I was like, oh my gosh, he wasn't Shameless.
Oh, okay. So, God, IMDb, you like to sort things out in the weirdest way. Jeremy Allen White.
That's right. I thought you were about to say Jeremy Irons. no, Scar.
Jeremy Irons. Just in that role at all, in any form. Actually, he played the dad pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
You killed my daughter. I can't. Who could do Jeremy Irons' impression? I've never had anybody do a Jeremy Irons
Family
impression.
Guy has a good spoof on it.
Like I just it's awesome.
Anyway,
awesome
that character Junior he looks
just like
you said Jeremy
Allen
White.
Yeah. So
I should know that because The Bear is one of my favorite shows.
So Jeremy,
he was my only favorite.
Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Jeremy. Junior is played by Mark Scheffler.
What a tragic character.
Yeah. He was the only one that I think I liked, because I was like, I feel bad for you. Like, just so bad.
Well, I think in the reboot, they made sure nobody was good.
Well,
if I remember right. Like, everybody were written to die.
If you were listening to the beginning when they were giving the descriptions of those characters.
His dad.
And he's like, Dad, like, hooked him on heroin to control him.
Right.
And you could see it throughout the movie that he was controlled by his dad. And then when he was left alone with Mary, he started to have like a little breakdown. He's like, okay, you know what? Yeah,
right, because I don't think he was a bad person. I really don't. I think he was just an addict.
And that's all he wanted, because even when he brought those girls, because originally, and this, so I watched this when I was in high school. No, I didn't go to the theaters and see it, Nick. I know that was your comment coming. I had a friend who brought the movie over, I was like, oh, watch this movie. That was a big, huge cautionary tale. And I'm kind of glad they did, because I never went to somebody's house to buy weed.
Yeah, well, I immediately, when they were doing that, I was like, do they have just zero survival instincts?
Right.
Like a bunch of that women in the 70s though? Were they just fucking like, yeah, we'll come up to strangers.
Think about it like
we'll go into your house.
Just naive.
For real?
So like if you look at the stories of certain serial killers and how they just basically said, hey, you want to get in my car? And they're like, sure.
Yeah.
That would save me some walking.
I don't know. Like I'm glad I live today where people are like, no.
Yeah. Because even in Friday the 13th, there was nothing to be like, hey, you want me to give you a ride? Yeah, let me help you up by pushing your ass.
I know growing up they talked about, don't get in a car with strangers, but thinking about it too, it's like, because of this movie, I never took that extra step and was like, hey, you want to come in my house? No, I'll wait right here.
Mm-hmm.
You go do you.
It's the
I'll
best
be right
after school
here.
special ever. They should just do
Honestly.
like Last House on the Left, Sesame Street or
It
something.
does
Yeah.
push the gateway drug narrative that weed leads to rape and murder.
Yeah.
That's also, yeah.
By the way, now we just go to dispensaries,
That's just there.
vote yes on amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
We
what our
just
dare
leaves to
officer should have
snack.
shown us.
Right.
Well, that's the funny thing is they even
Just
said
say
that it
no.
actually did the opposite effect because I remember they used to bring in a case. They're like, and this is the real stuff looks like. I'm like, oh, thanks. Now I know what to look for.
Yeah.
They did not do that.
They did. They did in my middle school. They brought in a case and it had real like cocaine, crack, and all this other stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And weed. And they're like, it had these little it was in a lock case. You open it up, had these little plastic squares, and we just all kind of looked at each other like, well, now we know that's not oregano.
See, around here they had the down power line warning demonstration when Louie the Lightning Bug was the cartoon character that would say, "Stay away from down power lines, kid." And then they would hook the thing up and the wax figures would start melting into the board and say, "Stay away from down power lines, kids."
Otherwise, it'll start to taste like toast. It's like,
Speaking of toast, didn't they get the guy got electrocuted?
yeah, he got
Yeah,
electrocuted, which I mean,
barely.
I was kind of wondering that. I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
was fucking-
back in the day, man, he would have been lit. Like,
sorry.
there's no tripping the breaker or nothing. He would have been standing there for quite a while.
Yeah. Like,
Or jumped. Either one. He gets either pushed
he's
off or he gets
electric.
locked.
He's electric.
Because he
Don't
was
touch
locked.
him.
Right.
Well, like the only reason why I know this is because my dad got shocked. He was telling me, he's like, yeah, I was working on something. I was stupid. I accidentally touched the screwdriver metal part instead of the plastic part, which is why they're plastic or wood. So when you work on electrical things, it doesn't shock you. So he accidentally put his finger, well, he didn't accidentally, he put his finger on it, not thinking, and jolted himself, and he got shot back. But because he grounded himself and grabbed the doorknob, he would just lock. So that's the thing of difference of like knowing what
Right.
happens and knowing that, the guy going, ooh, that tickles. And then
like falling over and then getting up. It was like,
Yeah.
bro.
Do you think the maker, like whoever like wrote Home Alone or directed or whatever, looked at this movie
They
for the
must
special
have.
effect?
There's no way. There's no and to that point also, getting hit in the face with a paint can.
Oh, yeah.
In the first one,
Full
and if you
can.
remember the cast iron pipe in the second one,
Yeah.
is way more violent than anything in this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
if we're being real.
I think,
Yeah.
didn't they do that in Mythbusters where they like actually recreated some
Oh,
of it
man.
and was like, oh my
think
God,
so.
that would
Did
kill you.
you ever see the special effects artists that do digital creations only, but they said, okay, here's Home Alone, but real? They did that with
Right.
Star Wars 2, and it was kind of funny because they're like, how do we do the younglings? So they just showed like, oh, he's got the lightsaber, and then it cut to somebody having a conversation. You see this youngling just fly down and then hit the window and then slowly streak.
Oh god.
Oh.
It was... Because they're like, we can't just show him getting cut up by lightsabers, so we'll have a trapdoor. So you just saw the one kid go...
Oh.
which I thought was kind of worse in a way.
Yeah, that's a little horrible. Little bit horrible.
Yeah, there's no way they didn't take inspiration. I mean, come on.
Especially the music.
But that's the thing. Home Alone was supposed to be all cutesy and whatever and funny, and this was something else.
Well, they could have put Home Alone music over this, and people would have been nostalgic.
Yeah.
It'd just
Right.
be a Christmas classic.
Put a little Christmas
They're
tree
eating
in the
mac and
corner.
cheese together, and that's how it starts. And they're like, I need to protect my home. And they're like, what?
But to be honest, it felt like two different movies. Like you got the whole beginning, where it was really serious, and then all of a sudden it just like, as soon as the two girls died, it was like, okay, now let's be comedic.
Now let's be Home Alone.
Yeah,
but
can we talk about the comedic relief of the cops? All of a
cops?
sudden,
Yeah.
they're doing
That's
rape and
horrible.
death, and then, oh man, you doofus! What are
You
you
darn
missing for?
doofus, you done left the gas out the car.
You moron!
Well, now we gotta walk, and
They
look at that. It's a bunch of chickens.
They
Let's
chase down the hipsters.
Yeah.
They pretend
Yeah.
to stop
And
for them. They're like, we hate
hate
cops.
fuck you guys.
And didn't the one cop, the younger one, actually get cast or wanted to be cast in the movie? And they offered him Krug.
Krug.
Oh, Krug, yeah, the
But
head
then
guy.
he wanted to be more comedic and didn't really want to do.
How do you comedically go and kill and rape somebody?
Well,
like-
no, he wanted to be comedic, so he took the deputy part.
Oh, okay, I got
Yeah,
you now.
but-
Okay, that makes sense. He would make a good Krug, though.
Right,
The other
I
guy
thought
looked
that
like a
too.
smashed Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone.
Like, just-
yes.
He ran into a window really hard.
Listen, I
Sorry,
don't
David Hess.
understand why they had to have a comedic relief, a bunch
know.
of comedic relief moments, because I thought
Right.
that was weird. I thought the parents with the shitty cake, and then they're doing like the oh boo boo boo. I thought all of it was such a weird juxtaposition
where I thought-
to the brutal rape scene, the fucking whatever.
It's like the
That's where I
joke.
thought the porn scene was coming from. The parents doing like. the
Oh
cake.
no!
Oh.
He just like puts icing on her nose
Yeah,
and starts there.
I mean, I kind of feel like they needed to. They didn't want brutal to like really kill you. They needed to something to space it up, cut it up. But was that really the good? I felt like I was, acorn.
I just think Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
we
think-
got acorned.
Yeah, I think Wes Craven was really trying a lot and throwing everything out there and be like, I guess it would work because it went from hardcore film and all the actors are like, okay, yeah, we'll just really actually have sex because they were some of them were porn stars, and that which also kind of explains why the females were more or less compared to the males, very attractive.
Mhm.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, I see where this was heading. And they got the talent. And then this is, again, 1972. So, like, making porn was very, like, all right, we got to make sure we don't get caught with this. And the guerrilla filmmaking and all that stuff put together. And then he just went, okay, let's change it again. We're going to do this instead. Originally, they were thinking $50,000. They ended up spending $90,000. Actually, they got money to do $90,000 to $100,000. But here's the thing. It grossed $2.273 million in the box office.
What was its release date?
I know it was 72, but I don't know exactly what time. Let me
I
check.
wonder if it was close to Halloween.
Remember?
I don't know. That's crazy though, because this
That
was
is
a
crazy.
wild film.
Yeah.
For
Like
72.
The music choices, the chase scene, if you could
Right.
call it that.
Where she's teleporting.
She's like teleporting, and then like
They were
suddenly they're
teleporting.
right there, and then suddenly I'm so tired. I'm gonna just walk. It's
Yes.
fine. I'm gonna just take a leisurely walk.
And then I'm at
And
a
then-
cemetery, and then now
And she's galloping after me.
Gallop.
Krug. I want to call him Krug.
Krug. Kronk.
Crunk, like
Oh, no.
Crunk.
I would have liked Kronk more, I think.
No touchy.
Oh, that means so differently now.
At one point, they were on
Squeaker,
opposite sides of the
squeak,
river. Did you
squeaking.
see that?
Yeah,
how did
that's the thing. It's
how
like-
did that happen?
Right.
And then they were sitting down. I give up, and then boop, they're
And then they're back
And-
up, and
And what really bothered me about
Everything
that
was so
too
leisurely.
was the girl. Obviously, her and Demary are friends because, like, they showed them in the beginning of the
Yeah.
movie going into those exact woods. So, wouldn't she have more of an advantage of where?
And that's what I thought was
Shitting,
going on
you know
when
what I
she
mean?
originally got the jump on them or splits, whatever.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, she knows these forests, so she's gonna be fine.
Right.
But no, that was for nothing.
I feel like the road wasn't that far away. It's like they just kind of walked down the path, right?
Yeah.
A little
Right,
ways.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she could have easily just turned around, ran
just
back
doesn't
up.
make sense.
It was completely illogical. And yeah.
well, they did that
Very
that
frustrating.
scene where it's like I see the road and it's too far. I think they didn't they do that with I Spit on Your Grave too. That same
They
premise.
did a scene. I remember, like the whoever it was chasing was like, "Ooh, I see the road," and then like they got killed. I see that a lot in movies.
Yeah, like that almost. So apparently, Wes Craven based this off of 1960s Swedish film The Virgin Spring. Oh, and to answer your question about the release date, August 30th, 1972. Now, if you see a lot of, or I shouldn't say see, if you hear from actors, it seems like that when they talk about the past and filmmaking and so forth, and because they were trying to push past that, I think it was the Hayes Act or whatever, where it really neutered filmmaking, because before it, in early silent films and just getting to sound, they didn't have all that censorship. Then they had that censorship until the point of through the 60s, and then all of a sudden 70s was just all exploitation because no more censorship. We're doing this, and they always refer back and they're like, "Hey, I really appreciate the 70s." I really appreciate the 70s. I was like, well, maybe it's because they're Gen X and they grew up in the 70s or whatever. But when you look at the history of filmmaking, that's when the doors just flew wide open on all this stuff. Your exploitation films, your horror films, your experimental films, your house films, all this other stuff that really started pushing the envelope because we were held back so much in American cinema. Not to say that European cinema didn't have their own thing, but let's just face it, American cinema kind of led the way. So very interesting to see that this is one of the films that kind of went there. It's not because necessarily, oh, this is a fantastic masterpiece. I can tell you from my ratings, it's not.
Yeah, right.
But it's also one of the first that were like, hey, we're trying something new. We're trying to do something
I can
different.
appreciate that. I mean, this is only less than 2 years out from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I feel like that movie pushes far more boundaries than this one did.
Right. And try not to go on a little bit of a, not really a rant, but digress too much. But when they did the reboot for Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the 2000s, I thought that was brutal and awesome.
It was good. It was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, and then people, crack on it and everything. I'm like, that. I think it did it justice. I love both versions. It just depends what I feel like. Because I remember after seeing it, I was like, whoa, dude, this is insane. Just because it made you feel dirty. It felt hot and it felt, ugh. And it really captured it in the second one. But, all right, so screenplay.
4.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I was debating going lower.
Yeah. So,
I was like,
So what made you go for the 4? I mean, I know, but for the audience.
Yeah. Well, again, the storyline was just very all over the place, super illogical. There was no hurry to anybody. Like, nobody seemed concerned. Like,
What
the
happened
parents.
to the ducks?
I want to know what those ducks are doing. But, like, the parents didn't seem as concerned as they should be. The friend in the beginning didn't seem as concerned as she should be. The villains didn't seem like as on top of it as they, I guess, would have, knowing their rep. Nobody seemed like there was any sort of urgency at all. And then it felt very sloppy. Like like the Home Aloneing it at the end. None of it actually worked. So what was the
that
point
shaving
of
cream
it?
will get him. He was
Couldn't
slightly
open the window.
inconvenienced.
He couldn't open the window, although he'd never tried to open the window. So.
Right. And everything was super slow.
That's going to be the
just
bad
did
part if
not-
like the deputy opened the window and stripped the trap or something.
Yeah.
Like, and then it ends right there with the guy going, "Oh wait."
Oops. Oh, yeah. The addition of the cops also I just felt was completely unnecessary.
The dream sequence of him chiseling out teeth.
Oh, my God. Yeah. What the hell was that?
He's like, okay.
Maybe I will go with a 3 because Jesus Christ.
Are we? And we're not even mentioning that the mother does actually perform oral sex on
God.
like that happened.
Yeah.
Almost to completion, and
Yeah.
then performs a
And then
oral
decides to
Lorena
fight.
Bobbitt.
Yeah.
on her.
Yeah. There's
my
other
God.
ways to goddamn do that. But okay.
We had meatballs, and now it's time for the sausage. Which it was slightly pink in the middle on that meatball. I'm really concerned about his wife's cooking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
We went down to
it's
a 3.
meat. I don't know. It's beef.
I still feel like meatballs should be cooked all the way through. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's, you mix sausage
I don't
into them
know.
sometimes. It's
Right.
Oh.
I don't know.
Italian spicy sausage with the meatballs is good.
Quentin Tarantino's the master of food and film.
Really? Well, yeah, for showing it. Oh, yeah,
He
yeah,
likes
yeah,
the
yeah.
F's.
That and
Food
feet.
Mm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about the feet, but I believe you.
You don't
I don't know
the-
about that.
You
I
don't know the Tarantino
Oh,
foot thing?
we now need a whole new episode about.
About Tarantino
Tarantino.
and his foot
Yeah.
fetish.
I was just gonna say that
Or like
I would like to eat the food that he puts in his films.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
It's delicious. Yeah.
Would you like some clam? And especially when they really
Yes,
emphasize
the
the
clam.
clam.
The creme.
And you're
for
like,
the
could you
cream.
stop saying it like that? It sounds sexual. I just want to eat my dessert, okay? Okay,
No,
have some clam.
I've
Okay,
had the one
really?
creme.
I apologize for mentioning.
Anywho.
Hey, we're all about digressions. So, yeah, I mean, and you said...
Big
I
Kahuna
gave it
burger.
a 5
5?
because, like I said, I felt like I was watching 2 different movies, and there was sometimes when I needed a little bit of comic relief in between when they were getting brutally raped.
Yeah. No, honestly, I hated that scene.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
Coming
it
from
felt horrible.
Like, coming from a woman, like, I feel like I just was,
yeah.
No,
that was like the
taken advantage of.
most like horrible. Like the smokers one, horrible. This one, it
Right.
felt real. Like it was not good.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
the really bad part
Well,
was
and the humiliation with her peeing too, because
Yeah. And that's like a sexual thing for people, so.
yeah. Get out of here, Donald Trump. So
Allegedly.
R. Kelly shows up.
Ooh.
Somebody
kinda-
say a diddy party.
and I kind of feel like that's what he was going for. Like he wanted to be uncomfortable. He wanted so
Right.
like
Yeah.
and I was definitely uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, and putting in
No, I
things
get
that,
that.
again, I don't know before this movie what was like it, except for maybe what might have been inspirational to him, which was that Swedish film. So I gave it a 5. I mean, here's the thing: if you cut out the goofiness, you do some better editing, you do this. There's a film that could have been solidly better had it not been his first. I think the fact that it was he cut his teeth on this, a lot of experimentation, throwing some things against the wall. It could have been way worse. We've seen way worse.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, it's okay. And matter of fact, IMDb even gave the film overall a 5. So I think we're trending kind of towards that same basis of like, yeah, it's pretty much 5. 3.5 stars out of 5. That I don't know if I would give it 3.5, maybe like 3, 2.5 to 3. So direction.
Oh wait, did you get yours?
Oh, I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did.
Oh, that's fine.
Nick.
It's okay. 4. I said 4 out of 10.
That's
as
4?
well. Yeah,
Okay.
and some of the dialogue was awful. And, I felt like this film really had a hard time crafting a story together. Like it just never really got there for me. But I'll give him some credit. Being a writer director. And it's your first. I bet this wasn't his first screenplay. I bet he's written some other screenplays
Yeah.
before this one. So I'd be interested to see what he wrote before this.
Something hidden in the archives.
Yeah.
For sure.
I feel like 4 out of... You okay, Tobes?
Everybody.
4 out of 10 is being generous.
Yeah.
It's dog shit.
Yeah, that's why I went down. I was like, you know what? Now thinking about it, it's a 3.
So for direction.
For direction, I gave a 6. I feel like they could have went more, and it could have been definitely done in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's his first film, so
I said 3 because you
3.
can tell this is his freshman effort. There is no experience at all in this, no intuition whatsoever. The cuts were weird. It felt like it just didn't get assembled in a way that felt like a cohesive film to me. Although I can appreciate what it inspires later, and definitely I love his later work. But for freshman work, first time, 3.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. I for the same reason screenplay got rated so low, because I was like, I can't follow what's going on. It's just making me mad. Like they're not doing what they should.
Funny enough, I gave it a 6 for direction, and here's why. When he wanted things to be brutal and intense, it felt brutal and intense. So I was like, when he really put his effort where it appeared to be where he was putting his effort, it was like, okay, I see it. When he felt like where you could see where he was disinterested and like, yeah, all right, we did the shot, we did the story, move on.
With the cake.
Yeah, like the cake and stuff like that. There's the deputy and the sheriff, and certain things just felt like, man, they just kind of let them do their own thing. And then when it came down to like, okay, I want to show the brutality, I want to show the viciousness of the rape and the sounds and so forth, you could tell he was more into making sure these things worked right and felt awful. So I was like, all right, when you want to direct, it's good. When you don't want to direct, you're forgetting you still need to direct.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that, but I don't want to give a director a pass when he feels like, or she feels like, I'm going to phone it in on this scene. And some of his B-roll choices were just weird, right?
Ducks.
The mallards or ducks, whatever,
There's a
floating.
lot of lake
And by the way, I
scenes.
feel like the ducks floating on the pond was used twice. I think
It
that
was
was
the
exact same
exact
shot.
cut.
Yeah, I put that in.
Come on, Wes.
Oh, it's funny. They filmed this entire thing in 21 days.
21 days. Wow.
21 days.
That's why they
it.
used 2 shots of the duck.
Yeah.
I mean,
Had they
it did
done
look
22, they might have had to have 3.
Yeah, they might have
They could have had Oscar, yeah.
3 ducks.
I imagine filming in the like foothills of the Catskills or wherever the fuck they were. That must have sucked.
Oh yeah. Especially in fall.
Was
It's
it upstate New York?
it's all. Well, I don't know if it was upstate, but I know it was just New York City and surrounding areas of New York.
Okay, so yeah, that's like quote unquote upstate, but not upstate.
Yeah.
Like out of New York City, like Western.
Yeah, it's like how Pittsburghers
That's kinda
view
where I was
everybody
going.
outside of Pittsburgh as, oh, you must be central
Oh
or
shit,
east.
that's probably why I was even more freaked out.
Well, yeah, because you were watching.
Because I was
You lived there.
living in New York at the time,
No.
in probably that area that they were filming in.
It's no different than when I watched Sinister. It was about a guy who was writing, and I was writing at the time, and then it's in well, not Pittsburgh, but it's in Pennsylvania, and it's like, oh, damn, this is hitting a little too hard.
Yeah, that movie was all spooky.
You think a different setting would have made it better?
No.
A
I don't think
circus.
so either. I
I
don't
think a
not.
circus would help with the music.
The
But
circus.
And she's
But
just
you
like
know-
running around the ring and like, get away from me! Like, I'm
But
gonna
it was
get
so
ya.
funny because a couple days ago, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do Last House on the Left. He's like, do you remember anything from that movie? Because I told him I watched it as a teenager, and I like literally all the major things I spit out, and I'm like, wow, I can't even recall the movie I watched last week, but I can recall that one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's probably because it made a big, like, you know what I mean? Like, you always remember the bad stuff.
Yeah.
That's right. I
Yeah.
could remember some shitty movies that I've watched too.
Yeah.
Battlefield Earth.
Human Centipede.
I was thinking 10,000 BC.
Oh, I haven't
The
seen that.
only movie I've ever walked out of a theater.
Oh, wow.
The other ones I will stay because of the popcorn, but this was not.
See,
Not one.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean about bad movies. I mean, I never walked out of the film because I'm one of those stubborn people. Like, I'm gonna watch this piece of shit all the way through.
Yeah, I don't like
Cool
that
Cat.
too. But I could.
Yeah,
I may
Yeah.
cool card. That was hard. That
Cat
was really hard.
Really hard not to turn that shit off.
Oh man. So acting.
No.
Don't you laugh at it.
I 5. I feel like that's
I got 5. I mean,
yeah.
because there's parts where it was really good, and other parts
I
where it was
gave it a-
horrible.
I gave it a 6 because I really thought those girls were being raped and
Yeah.
murdered.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about that. You gotta act.
I mean, there are
like being
sometimes
violated.
they did really good, and then other times, like the first scene where they're all up on the one chick and she's just sitting in the background, like, oh my goodness.
Or like
Oh
the
my
mom when she finds
stop.
out with the necklace and she just goes.
Oh, the mom.
Yeah.
She just holds her face like that for a close soap opera shot,
But
and it's like it's a telenovela. It's like, Dios
I kind of
mío.
feel like,
But
and I don't know if this is true, but I kind of feel like her mom had it in her head that she was on a soap opera.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right?
Kinda
She
acted
felt
like
very
one.
soap opera-y.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if she was.
Especially when she ran like this with the knife, like I'm
Yeah,
gonna
like,
cut your throat, and her arms are wide open.
But I really liked a couple of the actors. I thought the junkie,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did a great
he
job.
did a
being-
really good
Really
job.
good job, yeah.
Fun fact: he was really no, just kidding.
Oh my god!
He was strung out during the shoot.
He was actually really trying to get a fix.
My God.
Just kidding.
That's
Don't
why they
sue
were
me.
having him on set. He was like, "No, but for real."
Can I get my fix after the film, asshole?
So I'm the outlier here. I gave it a 2 out of 10 for acting. I just didn't feel like I didn't believe any of the characters, and I have a hard time watching any film that depicts rape in any way. And so in my mind, I'm sort of like, all right, how do I process whether or not this is a quote unquote high quality rape scene?
Oh God.
I don't know how to quantify
Yeah.
such a thing.
Yeah.
I assume that they did a good job of that, but anyway, I couldn't get past the parents. Just
Oh, they were so bad.
They were
They
so
were
good at making cake, though. Look how lovely they
not.
were.
It's like they were dumping liquid frosting on that cake, and then
Oh, it's that sugar ice coating type of thing. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I liked the one girl. The
friend.
nope. The crazy girl. I kind of
Oh,
like the
yeah,
crazy girl. I
yeah.
feel like she would have done well as like a Harley Quinn.
a Harley
Like a
Quinn.
late
Sadie.
50s,
Like Sadie.
the late
Yeah.
50s, like spraying hair spray
Yeah,
to
while
make it.
she's doing whatever and yeah, I feel like she could have done well in a similar role with other actors that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like the guy was too intense. Like the Krug.
Craig.
Craig. Hey, what if he was played by David Schwimmer?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
I just think picture I just picture Melman from Madagascar.
From Madagascar, yeah. I'm just picturing.
Imagine he's trying to do an
Ross
intense scene.
from Friends. Yeah. My sandwich.
Oh, it's so bad. So bad.
Oh, no. All right.
All right. So cinematography.
I enjoyed the brooks. I enjoyed the water flowing and the little duckies, okay? Because I knew what was going on and happening.
So do you ever look up, like, this is, I almost wondered if it was symbolic because he kept on showing ducks and then showing what they were doing to them. And I was like, well, ducks, how they mate is horrific. Like, really horrific. It's like how dolphins mate. Horrific.
Oh.
I'm just going to take your word for it.
Yeah. I'm not looking that shit up.
So I kept, like, when he showed it twice, I'm like, wait, does he know? I mean, 1972, you had to look up an Encyclopedia Britannica and, like, go ducks and then go mating ritual and go.
Maybe he went duck watching.
Oh, God. He just looked at it and he was like completely.
That was the beginning of his horrific career, with that one experience watching how ducks mate.
He's like now an avid duck hunter.
Don't you feel like the setting?
This is God's mistake.
The setting just didn't match what, That's why I asked before if it were set someplace else, could it have been better? I felt like the scenery was too beautiful for what he was going for. The rushing river and the ducks on the pond and then the mountains and stuff.
Some guy fly fishing in the background. What the hell is that?
It's too idyllic, a little too pastoral, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could be. Well, I think in all likelihood, it was just cheap. And
Probably.
The second part, if he really did want to make it artistic, which I don't think so, but if it was, you could say like, oh well, the beauty is juxtaposed against the
wasn't that like
brutality.
Sean Cunningham's who funded the film's parents' house or something?
Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah,
and I
think you're right.
And I think that, and maybe he was going for even in a beautiful place, because literally, it happened in her fucking backyard.
Yeah, I couldn't catch where she's trying to pull him along and be like, "Look, we could go here and get fixed," and she just
could
runs.
Easily outrun it.
Yeah, and then he could have been like, "Wait," and then he just went.
Well, maybe she thought that if she was with him, they wouldn't kill her.
How about that editing scene where it was like the parents magically found her, like in 2 seconds?
Oh my god!
Yeah, like on the bank.
And she's still alive. Like, is there anything we can do? Plug up the holes? I've been shot 3 times.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
Fine.
I gave it a 5. There was a bad edit in the car where you could see it splice, and I know it's about editing, but he edited and shot it. I mean,
is this cinematography?
Yeah, it is cinematography.
Okay.
But I was just like,
I was like, wait.
That's why I wanted to make sure. Yeah, I wanted to make sure you knew. Like the reason why I brought it up is because he did both, and I wanted to kind of point out the fact that he's doing that weird shot where it's angled and into the car, and then it also has a bad edit on top, and I'm like,
yeah.
And then she's like, you can't tell what's going on. He's like, I'm losing my rhythm. I'm like, oh, you're not just hopping back and forth in the back seat. All right, she's riding you.
You're talking to your partner there.
Yeah. Just while he's smoking, it's like, aren't you getting burned on your back with that cigar?
Right? No.
There was just too much going on in that car.
Yeah. Yep. And they had the junkie driving.
Yeah.
Poor
maybe
guy.
it was supposed to be maybe it was supposed to be chaotic.
If the car had been the General Lee, it would have been okay.
Would have made perfect sense.
Yeah. I gave it a 7 out of 10 for cinematography, and the reason is I can appreciate how hard it was to shoot this film with $90,000, and you could tell they probably had no lighting. Mm-hmm. Their sound equipment, I mean, it has everything to do with cinematography, but they were probably very limited.
Absolutely.
And the equipment they had was primitive, but yet they were still able to get some good shots.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the shots in the house were good. They had the up close shots that were done very well. Mm-hmm. I guess the pulling the action off out of frame, like when he actually does the deed with the chainsaw, or when the stabbing is taking place, they don't really show it. I guess that must be a trope of the 70s, but I don't think it was done poorly. So I'm inflating the cinematography score a little bit.
I'm also thinking if they were on a limited budget, they wouldn't have the budget to show them being.
That's why I thought they did it.
Yeah.
They're like, walk slower. We need a longer film.
I mean, these days, as the watcher, you are kind of you need that satisfaction of them getting like their head cut off because they're so bad. But like
missed opportunity with the chainsaw, though. I feel like when you have a Texas Chainsaw, I know I keep mentioning it, but it's done masterfully with, you get the long shots with the chainsaw wielder, and you kind of see him coming from a distance, and that's what makes the chainsaw so menacing.
Interestingly enough, if you count the actual on-screen kills on Texas Chainsaw, there's not many. It's a lot of off-screen.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like Halloween's kind of the same way too. It's not as bloody as it's remembered, but it's a great. It's a good film. So 5, and then you had 6, 7. 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then all right. So editing, going right into it. I gave it also a 5. It was for its time. I mean, again, the funny thing is when he released it in the theaters, they had to keep on piecing the film back together because when they gave it to the theater, they would cut it up themselves to try to censor it. And then when we get the can back, they would have to reassemble it because they kept on cutting it. Oh. And so that was a bane for Wes Craven's existence for a while.
Did not know that. I gave it a 5 out of 10 also.
I also gave it a 5.
I gave it a 6 to be different. No.
It's just different. Special effects for the time, 1972.
I said 5.
5?
I gave it a 6.
6.
I said 4.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, fake blood was good. I thought the stab wounds were. They could have tried a little bit harder. They tore the clothes, but there was nothing else going on.
Right.
Like just clothes.
And I think actually the blood was blue and red dye and corn
You took it away from me.
syrup.
I was about to say, Jonathan, good job on mentioning the blood. And then here comes Samantha.
Taking
Like
your
the Kool-Aid.
butt back. Like the Kool-Aid man.
Sorry.
Even the blood on the hands? Is that...
Yeah, so it's a mixture of
Am I
red and blue
shocked
food
now?
coloring mixed with caramel syrup that was used for fake blood. Contrary to most film blood, which was it actually looked real at that time. Because they used to, you would see things, especially in Giallo, like this red paint, like blood.
Oh, the red paint. Really.
Yeah.
I noticed that very frequently it would show the palms of their hands being dyed red.
Yeah.
And if it was actually corn syrup, how annoying that must have been to have the stickiness all over.
Can you imagine being in the forest and these bees are coming?
Yeah.
Right?
Not the bees.
You got leaves and shit stuck to you.
There should be a film about making that film, but just it's all comedy.
Well, if it was released in August, they probably filmed in late winter, early spring, so it was still really cold.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Which sucks for the girls because
they
they
go
were
into the water.
freaking naked.
Naked.
Oh,
Literally
yeah.
naked. There was one point, though, where the one chick gets stabbed in the back, and then you can see the blood beaded, on her pants. It had, beaded into little droplets instead of,
the stream that would come down from being
I
stabbed.
was like, oh.
They did do the reactions of being stabbed were correct. It wasn't like a blood curdling scream. It was
It was like,
yeah, and I'm like, whoa, that's actually true. Most people feel like they got into a cold shower suddenly without knowing it.
Also, the guy what is the older gentleman, the
dad or the David Hess guy.
David
David Hess is
Hess.
the actor, but
the guy I said looks like John Turturro. What is his relationship to the group? Is he the father?
Oh yeah, Krug, the head Krug guy.
No.
Yeah, David.
No. The other
Wait,
guy.
wait.
The old dude. The white-haired skinny guy who...
The one who loses his
Oh,
manhood.
Weasel. I'm
Weasel.
sorry. Yeah.
Weasel, I believe, I infer that he's got some impotence issues.
Oh yeah,
He does. As I do remember.
Little thing.
I remember an episode of Criminal Minds. Remember Criminal Minds? They were talking about serial killers who like to stab. Usually have some kind of performance issues.
Well, interestingly enough, the horror genre for slasher flicks, especially with the stabbing motion, was supposed to be a way of going we're not going to put rape in this film, so we're going to get this pretty girl, and he's going to use a knife and go stabby stab.
Yeah.
And so, and then Alien flipped it on its lid in 1979, of course, by having flying vagina aliens going after and impregnating men. So,
Get him.
it's great. Yeah,
Have you guys done that one yet?
We haven't done Alien yet, but I'll be very excited and happy to do so. I love it, and especially director's cut. All right, so that takes us to overall. I know I'm at a 5.
I'm at a 4.
4.
I'm at a 6.
6.
Oh, I gave special effects a 4 out of 10, by the way.
I thought we already got that.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I gave it overall 4 out of 10.
I got too many drinks in me. 4 out of 10 overall. So, did you guys want to keep, stream, or skip it?
Skip it. I'm on a skip.
I would keep it and show it to teenage girls so they don't make the fucking same mistake as those bitches.
I think there may be some easier ways to do that. I mean, for one...
No, we're hardcore raising here.
I see. That's the
As
opposite of
as soon as they're
gentle
13,
parenting.
Like,
sitting
that's
down
good
watching
shit.
this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say what I think Nick is thinking. This, and I'm gonna say you have to keep this one. Okay, I think it's a piece of horror movie history, and knowing what he is able to produce in the years following: Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street, Hills Have Eyes, Scream. I mean, there's no question that his anthology is iconic.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. And this was a fucking horrible film. Okay. It's terrible. But if you're going to be a fan of horror and Wes Craven, which I feel like a lot of people are because of the Scream, series, you have to, you got to watch this one. You have to, and keep it. I think it's important.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's if I'm going to show filmmaking, especially if you're teaching people how to deal with horror or whatever, this is going to be on one of the things they have to watch and dissect and figure out and go through and figure out the problems that they had and the trials and tribulations and how they were able to get past them. And in some cases, it was straight up, I knew a guy. So,
That's
for most
how
folks,
it works.
it's going to be one of those things where you watched it once and then that's done. You streamed it, you're fine, or you watched it once at somebody's house or whatever, and you never want to see it again. Fine. That's like
Right.
Requiem for a Dream. I really don't need to see Requiem for a Dream anymore, but I would keep it because it's so art. It's a part of art. Darren Aronofsky really knocking it out of the park. Same thing with this one. It's not knocking it out of the park, but I would keep it for the fact that it's like history of filmmaking. It's a part of the history of horror, and how sometimes pushing the envelope will get you relegated to being banned, but eventually being accepted. So, for what it's worth, if you're one to collect, especially as a Wes Craven fan, you definitely need to keep it. If you're not, but if you're a horror fan, you definitely need to stream it. If you're a normie out there who's like, I love the basics.
I like my dragon movies.
Then maybe you need to skip it. So I'm giving it like kind of this movie. I'm giving all 3 ratings in a way. I mean, ultimately, I said stream because most people are going to want to see it at least once to see what the big deal is. But overall, yeah, we're gonna end up in the collection here with the keep.
I don't think you're gonna have a hard time finding this one in years to come. Not like you have to rush out and buy the Blu-ray or something.
Yeah, the only problem is that it gets overlapped with your reboots and the remakes and so forth. But
We should do an episode of like the original and like a remake of something.
it was between this film and Antichrist. Actually, that's what's funny.
I've not seen that one.
It's like art house.
However, I will say the remake, Last House on the Left, is okay. It's a lot better than this. It's not one that I would say keep it, but I would recommend if folks aren't buying like into this one. Watch the remake.
I noticed they sped up the whole like torturing the girls and keeping her. At least it felt like it when I first watched it.
It was because nobody wants to see that shit.
The point of what Wes was trying to do is like make you go through it and then get the payoff. But then the remake was get through this, see the payoff, and have the payoff last longer. Where you just are enjoying the violence. You're part of the parents wanting to come out and do it.
It's even hard to say enjoying that kind of violence for me because it just feels so cringe here in 2024. Mm-hmm. Maybe if this were like 10 years ago and I was much younger and stupider, I would be like, that's so awesome. But no, there's nothing enjoyable about watching women get raped and tortured, obviously.
Oh, I was thinking more along the lines of the parents, like that part.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
this recut as a comedy would be amazing.
Oh yeah.
like I do feel like we don't get a big payoff in the end. You know, we just get,
No.
you know,
Slow
the dad and the
chainsaw.
mom kill them, and then the sheriff comes, and then
Yeah, he's
I
like,
would've been
don't
way
do that.
more-
Oh, he did it.
I would have been way more excited with
Well, there you have it.
the ending going in the direction that the dream was going, where they were both like, all right, hand me, like they had tied them down, drugged them.
Yeah,
Give me
the chisel to the teeth would have been amazing.
I was like, ooh, all right, I'm fucking down. Get them. And then that was a fucking dream.
Wes Craven was a tease with that one. I'm like, dude, you can't show me you're going to bust her teeth with a chisel and then go, it was just a dream. Like, screw you, dude. I mean, first of all, the fact that we had to guess whether or not that actually was a dream just tells you how bad editing was.
Yeah, right?
yeah,
Like, wait, did we miss something? And it's like, oh no.
I just wanted the sheriff to say, well, you got that chainsaw, cut me another piece of that cake.
Oh, and they just go, ha, 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 ha.
Knee slapper.
And then, like, the daughter wakes up and goes, me too. And then pays.
Credit roll. Ba-dun-dun-dun.
so I feel these 2 movies that we watched tonight, there wasn't really a big payoff in the end for me.
Well, the payoff, I mean, Martyrs to me had a payoff. It's the payoff I wanted, which is the unknowing part of it. And the biggest theme is, one, is the unflinching nature of both films, which is why I picked them. And the other one is the fact that humans are the worst monster you can face.
And you just wanted to torture us.
Yeah.
I assume that you chose
Because
both
he's
of these
human.
because of the revenge motif. Both of these movies are about vengeance.
That is also true.
I mean, yeah, they're
They
in
both
there.
have a vengeance.
They have a vengeance key in there.
theme.
Yeah. It feels good.
But no,
It's cathartic.
You didn't do that, though.
And
No, it's just like you fear. Basically, just like Walking Dead, it's like fear. It's a lot. Like humanity itself is just something to fear.
see, in the first one, you want to believe your friend, right? But in the second one, you need to tell her to fuck off.
It's really 2 movies about friendships and the right things to do, when to be tough on them and when to, you know.
I'd be a psycho if I said, I want to show you 2 movies about friendships, and it's these 2.
That's what you should title the episode, Friendship.
Friendship forever.
Watch these at sleepovers.
And they both died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friends up till the end.
Friends literally till the end.
Yeah.
Take your
Kinda.
girlfriends to go see it.
Yeah.
Buy your weed at the
girlfriends,
dispensary,
Blake.
kids.
Yes, on Amendment 3.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Well, thanks for coming on down, Jonathan. I appreciate it. We'll have to do this again sometime. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And any final thoughts?
Fuck Cool Cat.
Friendship.
Why do I feel like you would
And the
chase him in
French.
the forest? And he's just like, let me go. I don't want to
I would, but you
Julianna,
remember, you know how I was complaining about how there wasn't enough urgency? I'd be booking it after that stupid cat. I'd be like, come here.
All you hear is
get
the
you.
echo is,
Be like, you know what? I'm going to home alone the forest. I'm going to put...
You remember the 2 at the end, like rolling around
Yeah.
and really getting
Yeah.
into it? That would be me and Cool Cat.
I see it now. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. We are looking forward to giving our last picks towards the end of October. And
Nick is not picking them.
we're gonna try to do something. Come on. Maybe
At
we'll
least
do
not both of them.
maybe a share pick. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyways, take care. And if you want to shoot us an email and just give us some suggestions, maybe keepstreamskip@gmail.com. But otherwise, keep on listening to us and share us with your friends. And don't forget, if you can rate us on that app that you're using, then rate us. But until then, keep on watching great films. And where's our obligatory meow?
She already gave it.
Oh, there we go. All right. Keep it cool, cool cats.